Evening, everyone. It's 5:30, and this is your closing comment. It's video number 487. And I remind you again, hit that like button. Okay, so today was a very split day. The Dow was down 222, or 0.8%, but the NASDAQ was up 72, which was 0.64%. That's quite a disparity, but it was easily explainable with the weakness in Caterpillar, 3M, and Pfizer. As I mentioned this morning, Caterpillar beat street expectations, but it was actually a loss, and the stock was down 376. It continued in the regular market and actually finished down 529, or 3.2%. Same situation with 3M. 3M was down $2.16, and it got appreciably worse, down 512, or 3.1%. Pfizer was 37.42, down a half a dollar, 1.3. Merck was down 85 cents, or just 1.1. Eli Lilly, on the other hand, was 131.90, which was down $23.29, or 5.6%. The AMD Xilinx was seems to be a home run deal. The street really likes it, but because it is because it is stock and is based on a number of 1.7234 shares of AMD for each Xilinx. Xilinx was down a bit. Xilinx was up a bit, and AMD was down a bit. Also, Exact Sciences bought a company called Thrive, and evidently that is a big home run for them. The stock actually closed 131.25, up 24.22, or 23%. And by the way, on that Xilinx AMD, Xilinx was up 10.8%, while AMD was down 4.1%. So that falls in line pretty well with exactly what we expect when you see an all stock deal. In the news, as I mentioned this morning, we had durable goods orders beating, but later on in the morning, we also had the SHILLER index, which was 5.2%, and their expectation there was only 3.8. And the price index for homes was up 1.5% versus an expectation of just 0.8%. So all of those numbers are pretty healthy. Chart on the screen is the silver, because we went into AGQ, which is the leveraged silver up. This trend line here is a little questionable, doesn't hit here and here exactly, but you can see the Y of it. I'm a little concerned about the fact that it's rolling here, but if we come out of the top of this, and frankly I think we will, precious metals will move with inflation, and clearly the amount of stimulus and the deficits that we have will turn into inflation. So if we break to the upside here, I'll be very pleased, and we'll make good money. If it breaks down, we'll lose a little, and I will be out of the position. The rest of the futures markets were mostly higher. Oil was up $1 and change, 101, after hitting that low yesterday and being down a couple of days in a row off that same situation. Has tried this $42 area repeatedly, and then after a couple of days of missing it, we sent it lower. But again, as I mentioned this morning, this is the 200-day moving average, and we did bounce off it. We closed practically on it yesterday and on the low, and today we closed at 39.57, and that was over $1 off the low and just 30 cents from the high. So we'll see how that works. Also, the Bitcoin, I have to show this chart. In fact, I sold the last part of my Bitcoin position. It's a bit extended, and while there's all kinds of good news, I just find it to be the percentage play. When something moves like this in basically a 2.5 or 3 week period from 10,500 to almost 14,000, that 40% move probably is going to consolidate. Even if it holds in this area 13,000, we got $15.44 for a position that we had an $8.97 average in. And we come back down here, I'll be able to buy it back at, 13, 14, $15, lower than where we sold it. And if it really comes back down, I could see it testing this 12,500, which was that old high. To give you a little better perspective on it, here is the longer term chart that shows where we are relative to that high. This high was 13,915, and after that high, we actually closed all the way back down here. So my concern is back to this 12,600, maybe even back to 12,250. And if it goes higher, it's just going to run into all of this supply. Remember, this is a weekly chart, and here are 6 weeks of chart that basically shows supply from where we are now all the way up to this range up here of 16,000. So I hate to miss it, but frankly, as Bernard Baruch said, I made most of my money getting out too soon. So we'll see how that works. And the bonds were up about a half a point today, and the dollar was down 12 cents. That's not overwhelming considering what we've seen in the last week or so. Let's take a quick look. US dollar. And we came down pretty hard. This one, I think we go back to the daily because I think that's more pertinent. We've come down. This actually looks a lot like the silver with these higher highs. We could break down from here, which is not unusual. This is what's called a bear flag, where you see it making slightly higher highs, slightly higher lows, but not really going anywhere. So if this breaks overnight or tomorrow or in the next couple of days, this will be very favorable to our silver position. All right, everyone. Again, I remind you, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll be back first thing in the morning.